Good evening. Good
Hello.
evening, Corey. Hi. Good evening, everyone. Sorry about the late start. We've had a lineup change. Originally, it was intended to be neither of us, and then we stepped in, someone else stepped in, and so the banner got done. And then there's been all sorts of welcome for joining us ahead of what is sure to be a really exciting and optimistic look forward to an away trip down to the south coast when Everton take on the Cherries after not quite getting a decent bite out of. Do I even say the word Newcastle? Thank you very much, everyone, for joining us. On that note, on this wet, windy, grey, skies are grey Monday evening. How are you, Corey?
All good, mate. All good. I didn't watch much of the Newcastle game, so I'm probably feeling a lot better than most Evertonians. The only goal I've really seen is the Dewsbury Hall one. I was very busy for reasons I can't exclaim at the moment. But yeah, I've only seen one goal and it was Dewsbury Hall. So in my mind, we won 1-0.
Just like the 2-2 win against, yeah. I'll be honest, we will just maybe park it there because you've got to look forward. We've put it in a box, can't change the past. So, yeah, with that in mind, we have a game coming up tomorrow, 7:30. Lovely, lots of rest in between as we head down to face Bournemouth, who, well, you've got some thoughts on them, haven't you, Corey?
Yes, a team where we do not have a good time, even at home, certainly away. Trips to the South Coast are very, very rarely fun for us. I think we've won 2 in the last 10. Bournemouth winning the other 8. So it's quite telling. I mean, no draws there. So it always goes one way or the other. We've had a couple of comebacks. I remember the Josh King one especially. That was horrible. But certainly, I think what started the downfall of Sean Dyche was the 3-2 when we were 2-0 up last year. Obviously, that ended up getting thrown away. So,
I mean, didn't we
again,
play them in a period of? We played them was about 3 times in 2 weeks or something.
that was under Lampard. That was the
Yeah,
downfall of
and that
Lampard as
wasn't.
well.
And
You've,
and
you've got a habit of just of kicking out Everton managers, haven't they? So, yeah, it's not going to happen with David Moyes. It's not as if he's anywhere near any kind of trouble. I think he's done well. We are above where we'd expect to be in terms of I think maybe not above where we expect to be,
well,
but
we've
above
won
where
the
we were
same
last
number of.
season.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think there have been plenty of incidences where we could have possibly won games that we didn't, and we've won games that maybe we shouldn't, and that's just how it evens out over a season. We have people who maybe see things as a false dawn and want to be optimistic, and then you have people who just see every failure as a capitulation and every win as a surprise, and expect us to be bottom of the table, and variations in between. But I do think that the looking at it, there have been instances when you could say Bournemouth, you'd expect most football fans would say they've overperformed, and looking at it, there's parity. There's what 1 point in difference, and they've won the same number of games and similar goal difference. And
One,
and
one, one goal in it, yeah. They've conceded, but they've got one better goal difference than us. They've got -2. We've got -3. But you are right. The whole table is really, really close, and that's the thing at the moment. Is like I said, we're much better off in terms of performances and points wise than we were last season. We've already got more wins this season than we did before Moyes come in. So it is massively different. We'd look way above the other teams that look like we look above, way better than Leeds, way better than Burnley. I do feel like teams start pulling away from them. Whether you start pulling away from the other teams at the bottom, Forest, West Ham, because they're starting to pick up, is a different thing.
but
But go on,
do
mate.
you think, sorry, with that in mind, when you're talking about this, do you think it's fair for us to have these expectations of Everton to pull away, from the teams that, for instance, Sunderland have maybe dropped off, but they beat Bournemouth, and that there is a lot of parity, or you might call it unexpected results? Because let's face it, even down to 10 men, you wouldn't have expected us to have played the way we did against United and get that. Well, you didn't expect us to play that way, and when we did, obviously, we got a win, a 1-0, with 10 men, and it was surprising more than anything. The fact that we've been so inconsistent, and then we have those moments of almost brilliance where it happens again for us. You get me?
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone, like I said, that the league is so close at the moment. I mean, like I said, we're not exactly right by the bottom. We're closer to the top than we are to the bottom. We're closer to Europe than we are to the bottom. So one win could put us in seventh, depending on if results go the right way, kind of thing. Put you in European contention again. So that's close. The whole league is quite inconsistent at the moment. We are very much inconsistent, like you said, game by game, but also within games. Yeah, look, the game will flow back and forth with different teams and things like that, but we go from drastically amazing to drastically terrible within the space of a half. So it's, I think, what Moyes, couple of things Moyes has to do. We've been saying about being more flexible, being more proactive, changing things around. Obviously, I'm aware that he did that with Tim, brought him off, but that was probably because he had a honker of a first half, as far as I'm made to believe. I think he needs to be a bit more proactive. I think he still needs to use the squad a little bit more. Obviously, central midfield's a little bit different now because of the squad getting a bit thinner there. But I still think we need to be a bit more proactive with substitutions, and I think that will allow us to be more consistent within games because, again, we do just go from absolutely amazing to absolutely atrocious.
I mean, sorry, you were going to say it might be to our benefit. I was just going to try and find some silver linings, and funnily enough, Mr. Blue Skies has just brought it up now. Here we go. Because Cook got a late last minute red card for violent. I mean, I haven't seen it. I've just obviously read about it. But Brooks and Sinisi and Christie.
Yeah, I mean, Lewis Cook is Mr. Versatile. You'd probably expect him to play right back, to be honest. Instead, it'll probably be Adam Smith, who is crap. Someone, as I say that quite honestly, is very, very. Trying to be nice. Yeah, he's crap. In terms of Premier League goes, he'll probably show us up now and put Grealish on his backside tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, because Newcastle hadn't won away all season.
Yeah, and then here time for Everton. Obviously, Nessie's another big one. Now he's not big in terms of his height because he's not the biggest of centre backs, but he's a very good centre back. He's experienced. Obviously, Dean Huijsen last season, he went to Real Madrid, was exceptional. But I think Senesi was the steady head that allowed him to excel. Similar to what Tarkowski was with Branthwaite. Let's Branthwaite be a bit more aggressive, and he controls the back line. Obviously, him not being there means you've got Diakite, who is a decent centre back, but by no means you'd say he's of the ilk of Senesi, of Tarkowski, a leader. And then you've got the other lad, Milosavljevic. I've absolutely butchered that name, so I do apologise for any Serbians watching.
Oh, yeah. Let's move on.
Let's move on from that name, before I have Serbians gunning for me. He was actually, if you remember in the summer, we were after a massive, 6'5" tall centre back from Serbia. And that is who we were after. We were quite strongly linked with him quite early on. And that is who it is.
Of course we were. Of course we were.
So if you are going to put money on someone to score a goal, it will be him. So that back line is certainly something that can be got at. Petrovic, I don't think he's particularly exceptional as a goalkeeper, and it shows in their games as well. I mean, if you're looking at Bournemouth's last couple of games, conceding against Sunderland, conceding against West Ham, couple of goals, 4 against Villa, 3 against City, clean sheets against Forest, but then it's 3 against Palace. So they do concede a lot of goals. The only times I've seen him keep clean sheet here is against Forest, who this was at the end of October, just before Dyche come in, when they were at their worst. And then Newcastle, who 0-0, and that's been their speciality away from home this season. So they are a team who do concede goals. They are a team who can score goals. They're quite dangerous.
Yes, but are we a team? I was just going to say, are we a team that can score goals?
I wouldn't say particularly massively so, but all we need is a goal. All we need is 1 or 2. Yeah, all we need is a goal, and we can hold on. We've shown that we can fight for that. We've shown against United that we can hang fire and do that. The issue is Bournemouth are quite good at. They're similar to us, and they have one really good half and one really bad half. When they're doing poor, they can turn it around. Iraiola's really good with his substitutions.
I mean, Ebenezer and Tavernier, they're not exactly, they are capable players that have. Is it Semenyo as well?
Semenyo, world class. He's obviously the main danger man, the main one to look out for. Tavernier is solid, been there quite a while. He is one of the leaders. You've got, is it Adley On the wing, done well against Sunderland, or Justin Kluivert if he plays, but I think it'd be Ali. What is his name? Amin Adli, the Moroccan, who I think they got from Belgium in the summer.
Oh, Adley. Yeah. God, you are the font of knowledge.
No, I just have far too much time on my hands.
Yeah, it's
My apologies. He was in the Bundesliga. I just had a little look there while we were at it at the same time. It was the Bundesliga, so far from the font of knowledge.
Well, you know what? You were closer than I was, even with Morocco.
You see, he played in Canada. Is that right?
Something like that. Yeah, China, Australia. The, the issue for me is we've seen responsiveness from Moyes with the tactics, but sometimes there's been a bit of sloppiness on the pitch because it's. I'm going to simplify it and say that there aren't enough players on the pitch that make football happen. Do you get what I'm saying, or do you want me to elaborate?
Yeah, no, I get exactly what you mean. It's players there who you can rely on when things are going bad to kind of get you out the mire, or when you're struggling to kind of
Well,
they can
even
turn a
more
game on the head.
fundamentally, right? There are some players, there are moments where players have intelligence, but they need to be maybe coached in to be well-rounded to play smart football. Because Jake O'Brien did it at the game against Newcastle, where the ball went out, and rather than immediately kick it out and be out of position and allow people across the line to be played onside, he walked with the ball until he was closer to the line and then threw it out. And I'm like, smart lad, and he got a few claps for that. And there's times when we need to sort of not just those moments, but that's illustrative of the fact that sometimes you just watch and the players are stood there, or they'll just go, okay, he's out there, and there's two of us sort of blocking the channels. We don't need to go and pressure him, and we allow players to play football. And sometimes you wonder, like, well, who's this player going to pass to or throw to? And they've got no one because there's nobody moving around. There's nobody making space as much. Yeah, okay, Iliman and Jai is a one-man footballing team. And Jack Grealish tries to move around, but I don't know what his instructions are at times, because sometimes it feels like he's very subdued. I don't know if you agree with me
Yeah,
on
and I
that.
feel like he's been told that the ball's going to down the left. You stay really, really wide, hold the ball up and bring it into play, and that's it. Whereas I would personally like to see him come in narrow a bit more. We've seen him do well when he comes narrow. The assist for Dewsbury
Mm.
Hall,
Yeah,
he'd
because
come in
you
a
can give
little
him
bit, engage the man, allow Dewsbury Hall to go through.
you give what then you do is you can potentially give Iliman and Jai, because he's got very tactical awareness, the opportunity to run into channels, to overlap, to give the 1-2, give and go and pivot. And then Kieran Dewsbury Hall is so industrious that I think between the two of them, if he loses the ball, they can close it down. Or if somebody tackles and it goes to a loose ball, then before you know it, we're on the break with three players, and then there's a forward up front who's not necessarily so isolated. But sometimes it just drops off, and the consistency in a match, the consistency in that 11 or 10 outfield players doing that for 90 minutes doesn't happen. And that's often how we get punished. If it's not directly, it's indirectly from moments where we don't get the favors, we don't get the balls or the touches or the second balls or the chasing down, because they just stood around. And I know it's really bleak and blunt, but that's the frustrating thing for me.
Yeah, no, I agree, and especially one thing we've seen. I think this has been a main feature of Everton for years. No matter who the manager's been, is what you said there. When players are on the ball, and it's like he's got no one to pass to. Whereas other teams, other players will move around constantly. They'll move. Some will come deep. Some will go wide. They'll move out of position to allow them. That wasn't a fart, by the way. That was my chair squeaking. I'll tell you when I have. So yeah, I think we do miss a lot of that. Other teams will have it where players will move around, allow us to create that space. And we've actually shown at times when we've actually had good passages of play where someone like Idrissa Gana Gueye, I know he's not there to play, has dropped deep, forced someone out of position, someone else moved, and we've managed to play through the lines that way. So it is something that I do think we need, but we are very much, especially under David Moyes, we are the team that prefers to play on the transition. We like to play counter. We either like to press high and win the ball high up, so there's less work to do, or we like to go long on a counter attack. That's our main thing. So probably why the players are more rigid in their shape. We've known this from Moyes. It's been very much his MO throughout his career. So I think for me, it is a case of not so much the movement, but the mentality. Bournemouth, good footballing team, good on the transition, but we need to not let them get into the game. I think we need to, like we did against Sunderland, really, really, really go for it from the first whistle, even if it's just for the first half an hour, and then settle in from there.
Just how telling is it that you get to the point where you go, "Come on, lads, just put a shift in for a third of the game."
Yeah, that's it. We're good. You know what, mate? We're good for 20 minutes. We're good for half an hour. Let's just say we need to get that consistency. We need to be good for the full game. Or when we have that lull, we then need to be able to get back on top afterwards. And that's where we've had issues. I mean, that's one of the things about Fulham, where we dominated Fulham for most of the game. They had a 10-15 minute period. And instead of getting stuck right behind the ball constantly and then growing in the game and us completely going out of it, we then managed to get back into it. And then we snatched the momentum back on our side, and we just went and pushed on further and further.
It was a bit lucky, though, I think,
Fulham.
against Fulham, yeah.
No, Pickford made two decent saves.
Not that, the fact that we could have. All right, okay, I won't even go there. I won't go there.
Go on. Something to discuss, Lara.
No.
Yeah,
Just look, there were signs there that we were going to do what we did against Newcastle, is what I'm saying.
I see. I can't really say because again didn't get to watch the Newcastle game for reasons. But I see again, it could have been because I was in the very, very far corner from where all the attacks were happening. But I felt confidence even when they grew into the game for that 10-minute period that we done quite well. Yeah, Pickford had to make a couple of decent saves, but that does happen. You will give up a couple of chances. I thought we were very much again able to wrestle the momentum to our side and take it forward from there. We got the ball. We ended up, even when the game got a bit scrappy and they were trying a little bit more, we just managed to keep hold of the ball a lot better. We were able to control the game. I don't think
the thing is, though, we did better. We did better with, was it James Garner at right back instead of Jake O'Brien?
Yeah.
Right. And yet we and that was clear and evident. And so knowing that we've had a midfield change around, I don't understand. And we lose. I mean, I know you might want to say stick Garner in the middle, but when the basis of you've had somebody in the defence and Idrissa Gana Gay's role is to bolster the defence, isn't it better to rely on somebody who's demonstrated, at least recently, just a bit of better performance in that role? I'm not saying that, O'Brien's a centre back and Garner's Garner.
Yeah.
And I just feel to me that it was written. Sorry.
But what Newcastle was going to happen with written.
When we started with we played O'Brien at right back.
Yeah, I mean, I think what he wanted to do, I think obviously against United, it was very much a case of he moved Garner into the centre, he played Coleman at right back, and he said, you know what, I want to be a bit more solid, take Tim out the firing line. They're going to try and I wanted some bit more solidity against Manchester United. And then Seamus Coleman can do the natural stuff that James Garner did against Fulham. He'd done well in his international break. Obviously, he went off injured straight away. So that scuppered that. That's why O'Brien came on, because he wanted that solidity from Garner in the middle. I think then Idrissa Gana Gay getting sent off and now being missing, pretty much all the way through till January, has massively affected them plans, especially with Maitland Rowe being out injured as well. That's why Garner's going to play central midfield again tomorrow. We're going to need him to play there. It's going to be him. It's going to be Tim. Dewsbury Hall is an option, but he'll want to play him as a number 10. You're
right, but I'm sorry.
We're just lighting that central midfield role.
No, I would go for Garner at right. Well, unless you, I don't know what's wrong with Asnu or bloody. I don't understand what's going on. Anyway, I would try and see what's going on with Kiernan Dewsbury Hall and Tim Irabunam at centre midfield, and then go from there.
Who would you say, sorry, mate, in central midfield?
Irabunam and Kiernan Dewsbury Hall.
Dewsbury Hall. The only issue I've got with that is Tyler Adams, very mobile, a lot of energy in that midfield. Tavernier will drop in.
Kiernan Dewsbury Hall.
You just got faith in Dewsbury Hall.
That's what I'm saying. That is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Look, I've I've been advocating for Dewsbury Hall to move to play deeper because I believe he's more of a number 8. I believe he's better at bringing that ball forward. I think that's what he does in the number 10 role, which is why we struggle
But here's the
sometimes.
thing: why are we still not talking about Roll or Dibbling?
Well, Roll's injured. He's got a hernia.
Oh yeah, Christ, he was, wasn't
So
it? A couple
that's
of games
the
ago.
thing about the central midfield is that because he's injured and there's no Garner, we're a little bit stuck there. That's why it'll likely be Garner and it'll be Tim. I've been advocating for Dewsbury Hall to play a little bit deeper. I don't know if the game against do you know what? In fact, yeah, do you know what? Go for it. I would say if you were to play, I do think our midfield gets a bit overrun if you've got Tim and Dewsbury Hall in there just
No,
then.
I want to see Dibbling. Is Dibbling injured as well? Just
No,
play
he's
him.
not. No, he's not. But apparently, he's just not training very well. Moyes just not doesn't think he's ready. I don't think he's training very well. Mr. Blue Skies, I think you're right, mate. Alcaraz is the one I'd go for. If you are going to play Tim further back and Dewsbury Hall, then Alcaraz ahead of him because he's
Thank
tenacious.
you.
He might
That's what
not.
I was going to say.
What's that?
I agree with Mr. Blue Skies. That's it.
The Alcaraz one.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because that's
And
who I was going to put in front, and then have Grealish and Jai, and then you could have the three of them being very, 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 very mobile.
And I agree, but and again, he is tenacious. But I think especially we need to understand what Moyes does. And as Gaspipe says, I play with two defensive midfielders every match. Moyes likes to get a foothold in the game. He likes to keep it steady. He likes to stay in the game, keep it fairly even, and then later on, that's when he'll start to twist. I think he needs to twist more than what he's doing. Still, we've been saying this for a while now. I've been saying this since before the last international break, not the one just gone, the one before that.
But you're right though, because even against Newcastle was an opportunity. We had the ball in the box, and I just thought it's gone wide, right out to the box. It was earlier on in the game. You know what? No, I'm gonna. Mm, 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 mm.
But again, I think Alcaraz, the way he always wants to bomb forward, would really work with Tieno Barry as well. Tieno Barry very well holding the ball up, bring others into play. And if Alcaraz wants to bomb forward, it allows us to play again a little bit better on the transition. Bournemouth for the team where if you take the game to them, that's when they struggle more. If you sit back and let them get into the game, let them dictate the pace, let them get their wingers to run at you, then you struggle. Then you struggle. You don't want them to dictate the game. You have to take the game to them. And I think Alcaraz will be very good at that. I just don't think it's something that Moyes will do. He'll want that solidity. And I would also be concerned of the midfield getting overrun if it was Tim and Dewsbury Hall with Alcaraz ahead of him.
I mean, he's. I don't know. He is Areola is a responsive manager at times, and I just wonder if a Moyes' hands tactically, when you say turning the screw and all these kind of things, and do we do them? I wonder is he is his mentality too much like aiming for stability when perhaps the stability will come if we're a bit more adventurous? Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah. But I mean, again, this is what Moyes has always been like. He's always been very much. You want your two central mid. Well, he's played 4-5-1. He's played 4-4-2, 4-4-1-1. You have two central midfielders. One might be a bit more creative than the other, but you have that solidity. And then you usually have a man behind the striker who becomes a third midfielder. He's the more advanced one, but he's still not a number 10. He's not somebody who plays like Tim Cahill. He would get in the box, he'd be that second striker, but he'd very much do the midfield work. He'd do the difficult stuff. That's what he has Dewsbury Hall doing. Different type of player, but he's the man in the number 10 role. He's more of a central midfielder, but he's playing a bit more advanced than everyone else. He wants two other players then in the central midfield to control that midfield, to stay in the game, not to give it away. And that's why Alcaraz probably struggles a little bit. I see a lot of similarities to Cahill, but I just don't think he thinks that Alcaraz has the defensive. I think he's got the defensive mentality, i.e., the work rate, but I don't think he's got the defensive know-how, the defensive
Ability.
nous.
It is a skill for an attacking player to be able to contribute effectively defensively without simply just causing the opposition to be a bit more attacking and to force them to to be tricksy and then essentially shoot yourself in the foot. But it, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to expect because we're not going to see major changes, and we're not going to get we're not going to see something change hugely overnight when we've got still so many players that are out. Coleman, um, you
But
just don't know what's going to happen.
there's still big holes in the squad, isn't there? We still need pace out wide. I said this is what I said that I think Dibbling, while I like him, and I think he will come good, and he's a good profile in terms of selling him for profit in the future and his age and things like that. We should have got, if we're going to get someone who's going to be a substitute, who's going to be an impact player or a second string, whatever you want to call it, we should have got someone who can still be young but was rapid.
Yeah, I mean,
Somebody who had actual real pace to burn. So when you're really struggling in games late on, you can bring them on, and teams after you can bring them on when you're winning, and your teams will go, well, we can't commit too far forward because one counter attack over the top and they score, and also on the attack, teams can't push too high up because again, ball over the top. We should have got for one of them. I do think that again, I still like Dibbling, but I think he was the wrong profile, and then we needed the right back. We desperately needed the right back as well. Whether the right back was available at the time, I'm not too sure, but they're two main things that we need to sort out.
I mean, Mr. Blue Skies against us, 3 of the 4 goals were, yeah, that's what I was saying before. Most of the errors in our footballing play, when you reflect on where did a match go wrong, it's in those little moments where you sort of there are people around you going, "What are you doing?" And it's almost like if it's not going to be that, it's going to cause it in a few minutes' time because we've just surrendered a goal or a corner or a throw in or a free kick somewhere, and or we just haven't done the right thing and we put ourselves under pressure and not capitalized, and it's so frustrating because to me, we're talking about Moyes and the players, but a lot of the time, no matter who's out on the pitch, there doesn't seem to be. I don't want the urgency of like, oh, scrabbling because the ball's come in and you're 6 yards in front of goal and you've just got to turn and shoot. I mean, there's a lack of urgency of, oh, we're playing a football match, and that for me is, whether you can talk about O'Brien or Tarkowski or Keane errors, they wouldn't be as culpable if you know, like you say, we did things a little differently. It's frustrating because I don't want to end up going down the
You,
avenue of
you,
just bitching
you
and moaning
forgive
about it again.
you forgive defensive mistakes when your team's playing attacking and creating the chances because it's you lose and you gain. But when you're playing defensively and when you're trying to when you're
That
playing more,
lack of aspiration,
yeah,
when that's coupled with all those things and a lack of aspirational football, that, as you say, I can understand getting the fundamentals, but if you still mess up on those silly points, and you just go, well, what are we going to do to fix it? Okay, so if you're not going to fix it, then at least play. It's just ideas. I'm not going to say it's a solution, but it's frustrating. It's fatigue. Because,
yeah,
like, as you say, we have more attacking players that apparently have been brought in. Maybe whether they were or they weren't the standard that we wanted, whether they're capable already. Well, they've played top division football elsewhere. Why are we not playing them?
yeah. I mean, Dibbling, he's very much very good on the ball, very good player. When he come in, round about the win pretty much a year ago now for Southampton, he looked very very good, making his way into the box. Yeah, traveling fantastic. But even then, he wasn't someone who had major numbers. He was the guy involved in the link-up play to then set someone else up. We needed numbers, and again, we needed pace. I do think, like Emma said there, we can't cope without Garner, and if Diblin's not ready, what we're going to do in regards to that? Because someone's going to need to come in to replace Njai when he goes. So I
Sorry,
think,
what?
well, when Njai goes, the AFCON is going to be gone for a month, isn't he?
Oh, sorry, I
So
misheard you for a second. I thought you were just saying, oh, he's going to leave. Like,
no, well, I wouldn't be surprised if he does in the summer. I'm really concerned about that because the exceptional level of play that he is, I could see him going to Italy and absolutely smashing it and looking
no,
even
I'm
more
sorry,
world class
it
than he
wouldn't.
is now.
I don't necessarily see him going to Italy if he's going to go. That lad is a very very talented footballer.
I mean, to be honest, I can see him staying in the Prem. I think he really likes the Prem. It's physical, but he's got the ability. He likes to battle. Obviously, he spent a lot of his career in his younger years in England, even in non-league. So I can't see him staying here. But I could genuinely see him in like Italy looking like the best player in the world.
The only player that looked like the best player, no, Lukaku. No, I just, I don't know. Anyway, so
I will
when
say,
was it? When was it that Bournemouth played?
I do agree with Gaspipe in that the Italian clubs couldn't afford him. I know obviously Inter were linked with him, and I could generally see them putting up the cash as a big massive purchase for them. But yeah,
See, Ross has said here, defending corners is a big worry for me. O'Brien on the back, just standing there, both goals against Spurs and the other night.
yeah, it's one of the things with O'Brien is for the size he is poor in the air. I don't know if it's his awareness of where the ball's coming in or what. He's used to just being so big that if he just stands up, the ball comes to him. And now if he's playing on the back foot and he's running back towards goal and he's trying to keep an eye on the ball, he just loses awareness. That's what it looks like.
It's almost at the point of maybe the club nutritionist needs to help him with his blood sugar or something. I'm not being serious. Like, if there's some reason why his form, I'm not. What's wrong with it?
Just get him on my medication for concentration.
No. Seriously, he's. Have you not seen? He's got that thing. He's got a blood sugar monitor.
Yeah, he's got diabetes, hasn't he? He's got type 1 or something like that. Yeah. He was open about it. Was it this summer he was open about it, or yeah?
Yeah. But genuinely, like, if you're playing football in different temperature and weather conditions and stuff, and you could, all these things and variables, are the club equipped to? Are they doing it right?
No, you've got a point. You've got a point, lad.
It does make you wonder sometimes that who audits when you've got a private business like a football club, who audits this sort of thing when we have a history of there's been a disconnect? Because who holds them to account? And the worst part is when it's the board and the man. I won't go down this right now. This is for a much longer video, possibly during January when we see where we are after Christmas and talking about transfers. And not today. Not today. Yeah.
Not for Monday night, no.
No. Monday night football. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Do you know anyone that's going down to Bournemouth then?
I don't. Mab's not going down.
Probably. Oh no, he might have stuff going on.
Is it? Right up his alley, this.
Which is down south.
Yeah, he likes them longer away days, doesn't he?
I don't know. Maybe it's just anything to get away from us, really.
It wouldn't surprise me.
But yeah, not Tyler Adams, sorry. Yeah, Tyler Adams is going to be. He's not suspended, is he? He's going to be a handful.
He'll be in the middle. They'll probably play him with Adam Scott, the young lad. He's been getting some plaudits, but I don't think he's been in great form lately. So he got
substituted off, but I don't know if it was an injury, was it?
Yeah. No, I've had a look. I said that he's meant to be available for this game. He's no doubt for it. So the main ones are the doubts: Senesi at the back, which would be important. David Brooks on the right, and then Lewis Cook, who plays either the holding role or he'll play right back. So, like I said, it'll probably be Adam Smith on the right. Diakite, Miller Savajalic, smashed it. Trufe, Scott and Adams in the centre. Semenyo, Tavernier, Adley, maybe Clive in for one of Tavernier or Adley. I don't think so. And then Evan Nielsen up front as well, who, by the way, he himself has only got one goal this season. But his main thing is bringing all the other players into play. He's quite good at that, which is what we have with Tieno Barry at the moment. We just need to get him a couple of goals.
We need a lot more. I don't know. Yeah, so with that lineup for Bournemouth, I don't really expect we're going to see anything majorly different from the lineup from Everton, barring do you?
Nope. I think we go with the same back four again.
I mean, what we'd like, we talked about what we'd like to see and what could and what's gone wrong.
Yeah.
So now we're talking about what we're expecting.
I think we'll see the same team again. Genuinely, Moyes has shown that he's not wanting to change things too much. I know Eric Boonham came off, but I think he'd want to keep him in the midfield with Garner. I don't think he'd risk it being Tim and Dewsbury Hall or Garner and Dewsbury Hall in the centre of that midfield. I don't think he'd risk that. So I think it would be Tim and Garner in the centre, Dewsbury Hall in the number 10.
Can I ask a question that's going to make, if I'm not careful, it'll make me quite sad. Let's see if we can figure this out. We have not once in this video mentioned a player who has stepped up, scored some decent goals, not necessarily as the highest standard, but has done what's required, hasn't caused a stink, came back in when necessary, but has just quietly gone down to the bench, and nobody's mentioned him. Right?
I don't even know who we're talking about.
Wow. I'm just going to let that sit there and see if anyone is going to, in the comments.
We're not talking McNeil, are we?
Yeah.
I think McNeil's been so poor so far this season. Not once has he looked good. Every time he's come on, he's looked possibly the weakest player in the whole team. Like, don't get wrong, he was great for the first half of last season until he got injured. Come back and got a couple of goals. I think he does come up with a couple of goals here and there. He was certainly important for us under Dyche, but I just don't know where he fits in this team. We've got Alcaraz is better than the number 10. I'd rather just take the chance with Diblin because he shows nothing on the right.
I'm sorry. I knew that some people would respond. It was just an interesting talking point.
I think his time at Everton is coming to an end. I think he probably goes in January, if not in the summer. I think
because he's been a good player, a good servant to the club. I think
he is. He's been good, and I actually like his attitude. He seems like a decent lad, but his ability, he's just too one-footed. He doesn't have pace, and like I said, there's better players in every position that he plays. His set pieces are fantastic, but we've not really utilised them anyway.
Wow, you're just proper gunning for him.
I'm just being honest. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's one of them. He's.
Uh-huh.
I mean, look. You bring him on. If you start him in games, he can be okay at times. Yeah, and he comes up with clutch moments, as they say these days.
Okay.
If you bring him on late on, he struggles because he can't. He's not got the pace. He's not got the trickery to really get in and affect games in the short term. You know what I mean? He has to wait for the ball to land to him in the right position for him to take a shot. Yeah, or for set pieces to happen. He's not someone who's gonna take players on, which is what you need late on in the game. And let's be honest, he's not going to start over Grealish or Njai.
No.
I mean, and look, Diblin's not rapid, but he's got a lot more pace than McNeil has. He definitely can beat players better than McNeil can. Obviously, he's not showing.
My question about the reality is we really do not have a very big squad.
Yeah. Emma said before that we hadn't even got our full recruitment team in the summer. They'd only just started as well. So that's obviously had a big effect on what players we could get and how early we were starting to make the approaches for them and things like that. We probably didn't have as clear of a plan, maybe in terms of the players that we wanted, yes, or the types of players, but the exact players we probably didn't have a clear plan, like A, B, C, D kind of thing.
Yeah, I know, but it should be. Here's the thing. I don't necessarily want to do this, but I think that sometimes things speak for themselves. When you have a Premier League football club, standards are high, and you'd think that there would be in place, by the very fact it's a business and organization, policies to, replace players, tactics, football, some sort of metric, all these tracking of player profiles and their metrics and where they can be used. Somebody must have done something, information, all the sports science. And, while it might be within some individual's personal toolkit to assess somebody, that raw information, is property of the club. And you'd think somebody, do they just go, oh, well, we don't read that, I'm not going to pay the couple of £100 or £1,000 to have somebody. It just, where is the thought and concern for Everton Football Club compared to Roma?
No, not really. I mean, like I said, they've come in. A lot of the things they've done is doing things financially. I think they would have had different plans for the club. Had Sean Dyche said he wanted to stay until the end of the season, I think they would have had different plans there
Had Sean Dyche said he wanted to stay,
till
I
the
don't
end of the
think
season.
his I
Well,
don't think his wanting was.
it was him who said he wanted. He thought he could take the club as far as he could do, didn't he? So it was him that. It was him that said. It was him that stated. I think honestly, I think the Freakins would have kept on with him till the end of the season and gone for something different. So Moyes coming in.
But what exactly? The fact that Sean Dyche did take the club as far as he could, agreed or not? Do you think we could have succeeded under Sean Dyche?
No, but I think we could have. Do I think we would have stayed up? Yes, comfortably.
Okay, right.
But would we been able to enjoy the last couple of games of Goodison? No, I am thankful for the fact we got Moyes in for that, because if we'd have left it where we were, it would have been a crap end to Goodison. Me and you specifically had some really good points under Moyes after that.
Yeah, but as you say, if we'd left things as we were, so it wasn't just a situation that arose suddenly. It was a decline, or it was a culmination. So here's what I'm saying: where then is that nil satisfici optimum? Where is that intent? Where is that care for the business, for the footballing trajectory, for the fans of stepping in and going, this isn't good enough. And I'm not saying constantly chop and change managers, but if there are failings in an institution and you have access to billions, and we're now finally stepping out of the financial fair play, and it's not even the money spent on, look, you can have business operations, you can have subsidy. There are ways to do things, to get sponsorships by doing things and metrics and data and all this kind of nonsense, right? To just get the finer little details done. And the fact is, we're nearly halfway through a season, and well, we're not, but we're a third of the way through a season. And does Bramley Moor look complete? Does it look like a home with all the memorabilia and the stuff and the decorations that you think should be there, and seating at the sides for people when they're standing around, and stuff to put their stuff? I'm just gonna get a bit. I'm not gonna go there, but it's frustrating, really.
Yeah,
Please tell me you know what I mean. You've been and you've seen it, and it's
no, I know what you mean. There's still a lot of finishing touches to be done. It's still missing something.
finishing touches. We're playing Premier League football in there. Sorry, not at you, Corey, but
no, but it is. But the thing is, like, obviously they've not been in charge of the club for a year yet. You know what I mean? They've come in. They're having to change.
Apologist.
Yeah, you got to give me a year. You got to give me a year or two to let everything get settled in and things like that. They didn't.
Does it take a year or two to potentially send an email out? Well, I don't know, all these kind of things, or to actually have a petition that they broadcast at the thing saying every person who buys a ticket, it comes with a QR code or something like this to enter your experiences and feedback on the day. We can then tie it up with how long you've been coming and the weight of what and all this kind of stuff. Is there anything proactive that really doesn't cost anything more than one person's job? Hey, Everton, give me a job. Do these things. I can think outside the box with the right software and bloody writing macro, because you just think there's so many opportunities to fill in the gaps to make it such a complete and worthwhile experience. And it just takes a few extra people. But all the staff that they've taken on, where's the measurable change, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, and I agree with you that things still need to improve. But in terms of it, like, on the whole, in terms of the squad, we've got Moyes in. That was a bit of a detour probably from what their initial plan was. The whole recruitment team has changed. So
yeah, but you can't stick to a plan in football, can you? Just like during a match, you've got to
yeah,
be responsive.
of course you can. You don't have to have a plan A in which you just pigeonhole yourself into it. But what you do is, I've got this plan, and then these are the different options, and these are what happens if we deviate. You should always be. Look, you don't want to just do the Brighton model or the Bournemouth model where you've got a manager comes in, manager's fantastic, they lose him, and then someone else comes in who's going to do fantastic, because you want to be able to keep these managers. So same with the players and things like that. Brighton, look, every time they go for someone, it's someone who I'm already interested in, or someone who I know you're going to be interested in a couple of weeks, couple of months' time, because their scouting network's fantastic. But again, you want to be the kind of team who you want to prep in advance of that. Yeah, you do want to be able to go, okay, Illiman and Jai, fantastic. He's brilliant. We know if it's not this season, next season, someone's going to come in and someone's going to pay 80 million for him. So then we should already have the next Njai lined up, and
because
we can't really judge him on that for this one transfer window that they've had alone. We need to give them January to see if they put the money where the mouth is, literally, and fund players that we need. We need the right back. Moyes wasn't happy in the summer, but again, is it a case of the recruitment teams come in? They've come in, like Emma said, they've new. Have they? You need to let them have time to gel.
I love you, Emma. It just right. I know what you're saying, and we're going off on tangents and all these kind of things now. But this is what I was saying before. You can't just have a plan A and stick to it and go, I've never heard of what even the plan B is, right? Because managers, a team, the captain, the sports scientists, the physios, the doctors, the nutritionists, like you build it. You build a village. It's not just a business or a football club. It's a village. Like you go to Goodison around there, and people know each other in all different things, and the ball boys and the teams, and right. It's but where's that responsibility gone? And society, it's kind of the same thing of drift. And I'm going to get on big things, but people will just go, oh, I've done my thing, pass it off. And once they've absolved themselves of the culpability for blame, they just don't want to seem to give a fuck. And to me, that's not nil satis nisi optimum. It's not a third of the way through the season and people still having difficulties with tickets and still having them reallocated or double or sold. And it's it's just not on. I really don't understand why this is sort of acceptable and why people are just going, oh, it's okay. What, because they might have been given sort of cozy seats? I don't know. Where is nil satis nisi optimum? Because you know what, like, and here's where I say it, and it might not be Moyes, but we've been rudderless, and I keep saying the same thing. And we had nobody steering the ship, and now you have people who just go, "Oh, cool, I've got a pay bump, and the billionaires are coming in. And it's a big happy team." It may well be, or it may not be the case, and everybody seems so much better, right? Everybody seems so much more invigorated from the ground up because there's this change, and I get that. But if there's not real frameworks to build on, that we've got threadbare, and if obviously I'm just speculating here, but if something happens to more players and we've already got a threadbare squad and they're going, or somebody comes in to buy some of, like, Njai, and Grealish is on loan and Rolls on loan, and and what, Tarkovsky's getting older, and I don't know, maybe Pickford does want some Champions League somewhere towards the end of his career because he doesn't want to be stuck in relegation battles. I know it sounds, you know, and the fact that we do things like fans with food banks, and we get involved with things like Gary Speed and Ronnie Goodless, and the players do this. This is what I mean. And this is why I'm saying, when you own this football club, please stop taking the piss out of us. And that's what I mean. That you say, oh, the bells and whistles. We've got all of it there. We could have. You're telling me that you don't know that the murals and paintings or things could be replaced, or you could get local artists doing something Evertonian on the bloody thousands of square meters of concrete and the visible cables and all this kind of stuff. All it is just about fast pass and money. And okay, that might come, but at what point are we actually fans anymore and not just customers? I know it's another rant incoming. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong, mate.
I mean, I'm not going to say that you're wrong, but we also, as fans, we make it as fans. We make it our home, and you can. It's not going to always.
So what, you're telling me I can go in with paint or posters and start putting them up in Bramley Moor?
No, but you make it your home. Something like that will come in time. We make it our home. There'll be certain areas where we know that's where people will start to gather at the same time. It happened all the time at Goodison. At that point, that's when, over the next year or two, look, if they don't do this over the next year or two, then yeah, look, they have completely neglected that. But
Yeah,
I don't.
but you know what we used to have, though? We had the sense of community. So how is that going to happen? Well, you know what? While I've been at Bramley Moor, I can tell you one thing that I can tell you for certain, that you used to see at Goodison all the time. I've not, mingling around the ground or in the stands, I haven't seen a single ex-player, current player, family, or scout, or someone involved in the club, the media, anything like that. It's just been staff, and you know what? It really does start to feel like us and them. That's all I'm saying.
Well,
And
at
that's
least
why I didn't want to go in club view, mate, because I'm there for the football.
at least it's not going to be at our stadium. At least it's going to be at the Vitality instead.
Look, I just, yeah.
Just
Tell me
David,
I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me there's not other stuff that they could do. Tell me that there aren't fan groups out there that with just some stewards in that would love to come in and start putting things up, or be consulted on it, or say what they could do here and just make it more of a thing to feel the sense of community and ownership.
yeah, there's loads more they could do. Like I said, I'm not saying that they did. There isn't more they can do. They've done everything they can. I'm saying over time this should happen. It should happen organically.
Yes,
You
but
got
there's been no sign of it. There's been no sign of it a third of the way into the season. And we've had test events nearly a year ago. Like, do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but it's how you going to be able to get all that in this in the summer? You should see more. In the summer, you should see more. We
Oh,
know it was under.
fuck off, mate. Oh my god. You know what? It's with the bar doors. We just can't get the cans of paint into the posters, man. We haven't figured it out how. I'm winding you up.
I'm to be honest, mate. I had no idea what you're saying then.
Okay, no worries.
I just the mate. I'm not saying that the place isn't undercooked. It is undercooked. We said this. It needs more. It does need that finishing touches. It needs, like you said, the bit of personality, the bit of it, the bit of Evertonian in there. It is lacking that at the moment. But you want that to come organically as well. You don't want it to just be Euros painted in
Yeah,
certain
but
places.
the effort they
If it
put into
happens
the light
organically,
show, the effort they put into the light show, or basically the display of the wonder of the billboards and the hoardings and the lights and the spotlights before kickoff of an evening game, really highlights the spectacle of being awarded some Euro matches and the possibility of being like a concert venue on the front. And where's the commensurate effort put into the actual fan experience of our sense of ownership? Maybe it's because they don't want to do that and they want all the Everton stuff stripped out for when it's used for non-Everton stuff.
maybe they do, but we
Well, yeah,
can't say that for certain, mate. Like I said, you've got to at least give them next summer once they know what areas are what and how they're like, and then we go from there. There's a lot of decoration, there's a lot of heart that's gone into that stadium from the outside. It's the inside that's lacking. It's the inside that's undercooked. Let's be honest. When I walk around to the south stand for the Fulham game, obviously usually we go in through the east. When I've walked around to that south stand, you can see the heart that's there. There's a lot more there. It's when you go inside the ground that it's undercooked. And again,
yeah,
you've got to give
that's
them.
what I'm saying.
You've got to give them next summer to do what they to make it within that. And again, you want it to happen organically.
I, I, I don't know what more organically like you can do to at least start putting. Have you seen anywhere that has any sort of hoardings of like players? Like there is space for like 30-foot posters. You could have a huge banner of Dixie Dean coming in. You could potentially, like, do you know what I mean? There could be something wonderful. There's nothing. There's nothing. Are you telling me even temporarily you couldn't just put something wonderful up of like, I mean, it might be divisive, but for crying out loud, like here's another thing. This is what I mean. Bill Kenwright would have got it. For all his faults and failings, he was a fan and he would have got it. That's all I'm saying.
He's also had absolutely no business sense. And I understand it's a little bit of both. You need Dave.
Yeah,
You need
yes, but at what point are you willing to accept it being 100% a business? Because I'm not a loyal customer to someone who just wants my money.
Yeah, and again, it's to me, it doesn't just feel like a business. Yeah, it's shiny, it's a lot new, it's a lot quicker, it's a lot better than what we had at Goodison. I'm going to be honest with you there. It was Goodison Park, half time, in and out was a nightmare. There's still issues at the stadium, but again, they've improved things bit by bit. There has been improvements, And again, I'm not saying it's not undercooked, because the interior is undercooked. It still looks pretty generic. It's like you said, there's a lot of empty space, but it's difficult to be able. What you want like a half painted mural in the middle of it, where you've got half of, I don't know, you've got half a big dunk's head or something like that, because you've only got halfway through it, because they've only got 1 week to get it all painted, and then another week to let it dry and air out and things like that. So you'd have to wait till next summer and let them go take them that other step. It's undercooked. We know it's undercooked because it didn't. We were expecting it to look much more complete when it opened, but
that's why I'm saying even temporary stuff. Look, because of all the hoarding and things, you could.
what you gonna do? What you gonna do temporarily? You know what I
That's
mean?
what I'm saying. Banners of Dixie Dean, or the Great Club, or maybe the 1987 team, or just something to make it feel like it's Everton.
But again, I think it's the Evertonians that make it feel like it's Everton, and I think
look, there was the layers of paint at Goodison. Everywhere was touched up, and it was soaked with all the fucking swearing and all the kids that were desperate to go rush out and hear that, like when you go like, oh my god, the ball's going in. Just all the little marks on the walls, the stink in the corner, just because people smoked there and you knew they shouldn't and you knew they did. Like, the little things in between the I beams and the like with all the in the street end, like when you got the like, I'm not saying you're going to replicate all of that at all, but the fact is, if it's the women's home now, all that stuff potentially is going to get replaced. But why is there nothing like that at Bramley Moor?
because it's new again. It's organic.
Yeah, okay, it's new. But at what point is it not new? Oh, you know what? We've sold you this car without tires because we just want you to sit in it for a while before. Nah, I'm not. I just.
I just think, again, going to reiterate, it's undercooked. We know this, very much know this. I think you got to give them till end of next summer in terms of the stadium. See how it gets decorated. See how it becomes more Evertonian. I think it's the Evertonians that make it what it is, and it's them little bits where you will have your own bits of nostalgia in them areas. Them areas will start to get painted on, where they know it's where more people congregate and things like that. These areas, you will still. You
Okay,
sorry,
you're gonna sneeze.
I'm just reading James Graham's comments, just making me laugh. It's a council excuse.
Look, I'm just saying. All I'm saying, we have the technology now to print murals with like printers that you put on the wall and it just right, or even banners that you hang, because you know what? There's hooks and stanchions and stuff like that, and you can do it tall enough that people can't grab them.
Yeah, but it's mate. For me, something like that it's not the be all and end all at this moment in time. I've got to the realization that it's undercooked. We need to make that history our own. The club needs to do something for it. But again, it's something where, for me, it can hang fire until the summer. You can give them that to do it. It's, for me, it's more about getting
One
it right.
second, 1 second. Back in a second. Back in a second. Sorry.
Everyone in the comments as well. We've not got long left on this stream, so while we wait for Jan to come back, hit us up with what you think the score's going to be. Let us know what you think. Are we going to be able to get? Are we be able to get a win against Bournemouth? Is Blue Stew? James Graham, by the way, I agree. We've been sold short in terms of what it was. I don't necessarily think it's the current ownership group that are the most culpable in regards to this. Again, they've picked this up. They took over us a year ago. Most of it was all done by then. All the timelines and things were done by then. The fact that the capacity is low was done by them.
Oh yeah, we're doing a Bournemouth preview.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. But okay. So what you're saying for me, let me just round it out. Is I know they're fripperies and bells and whistles, but to some extent they're not, because it's part of the experience. It's part of getting the fans about. It's part of getting everybody the halo effect of getting everybody fired up, getting everybody a reason to go. Well, you know what? This is my home. That it feels comfortable for me to start shouting and because you know what? Sometimes when it's quiet and nobody else is doing it, you kind of don't want to. It's group psychology. I get it. So you know, if you want more, that's essentially it's Kevin Costner. If you build it, they will come. Well, how about you finish fucking building it and stop settling for good enough? It doesn't say good enough.
Actually, Nisi optimum is the good. It does actually mean good enough in
Okay,
Latin.
well, we've
So
gone from good. Okay, well, we've gone from.
I'm just terrorizing you, lad. I'm just
Well,
telling
no,
you.
it's okay. I've got an even worse one now. We've gone from good as son to good enough.
Yeah, mate, this is our chance to push on. This is our chance to push on. You can't just say it's got to be done in a matter of weeks, in a matter of a couple of months. It's going to be. I'm not saying a slow. I'm not going to say a massively patient process, but there's a lot of, especially with the club and the changes that went through in the summer, there was a lot of things to change. Massive amounts of players, new stadium, pretty much a new manager in a few months, and a full new recruitment team as well, new owners. So much has changed. So that's why I think you've got to give some leeway and things like that, especially when they've only been in charge, not even a year yet.
I completely
So
forgot all the
any
time.
so
Sorry, everyone.
these are some of the comments made from obviously our contributors here. So Emma thinks 1-1 if we're lucky. Richie thinks it's our bogey team away, but James 1-1 as well.
Yeah, James seems to think. Gaspipe, as always, is coming in with slightly overestimating Everton's abilities there, and David not want to be outdone. Yeah. Not really. Richie doesn't seem to think we've got anything. Emma, well, seems to think it's 1-1 if we're going to be lucky. Honestly, it's knowing Everton, we are very variable. We could play awfully and we'd get a 1-0. We could play wonderful and somehow capitulate a 2-goal lead. That's it. The bookies have a field day.
My head says 2-1 Bournemouth. My heart says 3-2 Everton.
It's hard to disagree.
My heart says 3-1 Everton, but my head says 2-1 Bournemouth.
Yeah, I mean, David says 1-0, and this sort of hits the nail on the head. That is, to me, the heart speaking. The heart going, you know what? If we just dig deep and we're away from home and we just hold the line and we do it and we get that chance and we just get the goal and snatch and yeah. But then equally, quite rightly, there is the legitimate fear of.
It does look like a lot of Blues here. I don't know if it's just the fallout from Saturday, but
I don't know if it's the fallout from my rant either.
To be fair, it's probably the fallout for the fact we're absolutely garbage against Bournemouth, especially away from home.
It's a combination of away from home, against Bournemouth, bogey, and
bogeys.
Yeah, it's just. And the fact that it's an opportunity for us to go on up the table. Like there were times when we were surprised and we go, oh, and then there was loads of teams above us. And now when we've got a chance to push on, it's almost like, well, it's almost like the team have got ADHD. They can only do it when it gets down to like the crunch, the final thing, when there's really, really a lot of pressure and no opportunity. There's no other alternative but to do it. Don't know.
Yeah, no, I get it. When there's no chance to procrastinate, when there's no chance for anything else to happen, you can do it, but you can only do it then.
Yeah.
So, wow. And on that massively positive note, I think we should bid adieu.
Farewell, adieu. It is 22. It will shortly be 22:22. So everyone watching, go and enjoy. Well, match of the day is not on a Monday, but whatever it is you're doing, 10 o'clock news. Go and see what they're doing. No. Well, I don't know. Are we doing a watch along tomorrow? I'm not.
I don't believe so. There is a pre-match and there is a post-match. So please join us for that. I think that will be on round about 7, 7:15. I do believe it is our glorious leader, Ryan, who is hosting.
Ja, mein Kommandant. Yeah, thank you everyone for joining us. It's been again. I'm sorry for the rant, but come on. When it's things like just basically who we're going to get in, and then we brought them in and we never bloody play them. Right? We have become so desensitized and accustomed to absolute comedy and farce that we don't even discuss it. So that when I bring it up, like even things like the stadium, I know you've got a point, right? But come on, it's not rocket science to put up some bloody posters and paint, mate. It really isn't. It really fucking isn't, right? So we've been so accustomed to just that we go.
I just get it. I just get it for the. I just get it for this year. After this year, then it's a massive, massive failure. But I just give them.
We've had years of it. We've had 4 years of it, mate.
Of which the Freakins were in charge for what 9 months before it opened. You know what I mean? That's what I'm trying to say.
I know. Look, I'm not blaming. I'm not necessarily when I state what things are. It doesn't necessarily entail 100% blame for like who's in charge, and the fact that I've pointed out that they are maybe not because of the things that come up, the disparity between business deals or signings or whatever between Roma and Everton. Like, anyway, we've said goodnight. This doesn't count. End of the show. Bye.
Screw Marvel. These are real post credits.
Just,
from me and from Janos. Peace.
Yeah. Look, honestly, thank you everyone for joining us. Come on, follow Everton tomorrow evening to put up with not me. Yeah. Up the fucking Toffees.
Up the Toffees. Good night, Janos.
Good night, Koriogos.